The first case we'll look at is a classic CFIT accident in mountainous terrain in poor weather. The facts in this accident are from the United States official Aviation Accident Investigation Agency, the National Transportation Safety Board, or NTSB. Just after 8 a.m. on December 11, 1991, a Beechjet carrying 7 passengers and 2 crew members landed at the Richard B. Russell Airport near Rome, Georgia. The aircraft was owned and operated by a chain of supermarkets and related stores based in Birmingham, Alabama. The passengers were on an annual Christmas tour of company facilities. During the approximately 1 hour that it took for the passengers to complete their business in Rome, the pilots filed an IFR flight plan with a stopover in Huntsville, en route to Birmingham. The estimated time of departure was filed as 9:15 in the morning. Around 9:25, the passengers who were reportedly pushing to maintain their schedule arrived at the airport. 8 minutes later, the Beechjet taxied for takeoff. Since requesting and waiting for an IFR departure clearance could have resulted in a delay of up to 30 minutes, the captain apparently decided to expedite matters. With a ceiling of 1,000 feet and visibility of 10 miles, the captain initiated a VFR departure with the intention of picking up an IFR clearance en route. 13 seconds after takeoff, the captain contacted Atlanta Center, informing them that he had just departed Rome VFR and was looking for a clearance to Huntsville. ATC assigned the aircraft a transponder code with instructions to maintain VFR. A traffic advisory for aircraft on approach to Rome was also issued. 2 minutes later, Atlanta Center, which due to line-of-sight limitations did not have radar contact with the aircraft, asked the crew to state their altitude. The crew informed ATC that they were at 1,300 feet VFR just southwest of Rome Airport. Over the next minute, the captain and first officer discussed their proximity to rising terrain and other aircraft on approach to Rome. 30 seconds later, and nearly 4 minutes after takeoff, the Beechjet slammed into the south side of Mount Lavender during level flight at an altitude of 1,580 feet, killing all 9 people on board. How could 2 pilots, with combined flight experience of over 19,000 hours, who knew they were flying in the vicinity of terrain rising above their flight level, still end up a CFIT statistic? A good place to start the search for answers is the CFIT checklist. If everything went perfectly, the crew was still operating without ATC radar coverage, in mountainous terrain, and out of an airport with no published IFR departure. Matters were complicated further by the captain's decision to initiate visual flight into such an environment with low ceilings. Although the pilots knew they were in an area of rapidly rising terrain, the lowest cloud layer would have obscured the tops of the nearby terrain, making it difficult for the crew to pinpoint their location. During the last minute of flight, the crew could not agree on which way to turn to avoid the terrain and weather. Instead, they faithfully continued straight ahead until it was too late. The NTSB cited the crew's failure to maintain situational awareness in the marginal VFR flight environment as the probable cause of the accident. However, other than advising against scud running, the board didn't offer a well-defined solution that could eliminate future accidents of this type. What, then, can be done? Initially, crews and operators should be alerted when they are operating in an environment of heightened CFIT risk. As highlighted in the CFIT checklist, this awareness can be developed through an examination of the proposed flight profile and characteristics such as ATC capabilities, aircraft equipment, terrain, and weather. Next, policies and procedures should be examined to ensure that they foster a safe, coordinated, and consistent flight operation. Additionally, training programs should be established that promote continued CFIT awareness, risk recognition, and corrective action. It's also important that any program of this sort is supported by open channels of communication, to address and resolve procedural diversions, as well as crew and management conflict. While a comprehensive CFIT awareness program can quickly improve situational awareness, equipping aircraft with improved avionics represents another source of risk reduction. Although advanced technology may be a long-term solution for some operators, its value is obvious. For example, let's take a look at how an installed GPWS might have altered the outcome of the flight from Rome, Georgia. This recreation depicts the last 20 seconds before impact. Had a GPWS been installed, a warning would have sounded about 12 seconds prior to impact.
Terrain, terrain, pull up, pull up, pull up.
The NTSB determined that this warning should have provided adequate time for the pilots to take evasive action. Thus, despite the compromising position in which the crew placed the aircraft and passengers, an installed GPWS, acting as the last line of defense, may have saved the aircraft, passengers, and crew. However, it's important to emphasize that although modern technology may have helped prevent this accident, the lack of an installed GPWS didn't cause the aircraft to fly into the side of Mount Lavender. GPWS is a defensive instrument only. That is, if you get to the point where the GPWS warning activates, you have already dug yourself a very large hole that may still be impossible to climb out of. Flight crew awareness and vigilance are the primary tools that should be used to avoid CFIT. The problems associated with poor crew coordination and disorientation that were evident in the Rome, Georgia accident also contributed to another CFIT tragedy.